If you want to know how to make your own Hyperdoc from scratch, let's say you have a certain number of sources and you just want it done the way you want it. I've been there too. And so actually, I created my own for the first time when I did this Hyperdoc here on modern day civil rights. And so I had four things that I wanted students to do, and I wanted them to do them together. So I did them as appointment times. So 12, 3, 6, and 9. So they met with a different partner for each. They sat down, they watched the video, or they read the article together, and then they answered the questions. And then I also linked in additional sources below that related to that particular topic. So anyway, so I just wanted it done the way I wanted it. So if you're the same way and you want to create your own from scratch, go ahead and start with a doc, or you can be in Google Slides. I've seen people do that too, where they use slides and they have maybe 6 or 8 different slides, and then a link will take you out to one of the slides, and there will be other options there. So that's definitely a way that you can go to. But the basic way to get started here is if you go to Insert and you go to Table, if you know how many sources you want, like let's say you want 9, right? Or maybe you've got 8 sources and you're going to leave instructions in the center. You can think of it that way too. Or if you just want to do something that's nice and long like this, so you've got maybe 8 sources and you're going to put your instructions up top. Okay? However you want to set it up, go ahead. And then what you would do is to change the background color, you would go up to File, and then you would go to Page Setup. And then for page setup, in page color right here, you would go ahead and click and you would select whatever color it is that you want. So like if I want mustard yellow to be my background, I'll go ahead and put it there. And then also, of course, if I want to make it landscape, whatever. So for the table itself, if you are wanting to change the density of the lines on the table, what you can do is just left click or right click rather, right? And then you go over to table properties. And then over here, table border, you can change the color of the border if you wish. So like, let's say if I want to make it green, this is a really ugly one. Oof. How about, let's go with magenta. Not that that is much better. You can go down here, you can select the weight of the line that you want. So if you want it to be a little thicker, you can do that. You can also do the cell background colors a particular color. So in this case, I might make them white because I like students to sometimes shade them in. You can change the column width, whatever. So table properties is really where it's at for you to make those kinds of changes. So in order for me to make them all white though, I'm going to need to, I would need to select all of them. Oop, well, yeah. And then go into table properties, select the background, and then there we go. So now they're all white. And so then I would go ahead and I would add in whatever I want up here if I want to make them point values. So if this one's going to be worth 10 points and this is something that they're going to watch. And then if this one is going to be 5 points and this is something that they're going to view, like maybe it's a single picture or something like that. And then if this one is 15 points because maybe it's a longer article that they have to read, so it's worth more and it's going to take more time, and so on. So I would go ahead and I would do it that way. Now, of course, it's the same kind of process where it's always fun to insert some kind of a picture. So you would want to go up to Image. And then if you already have something loaded into your drive, like I have a ton of articles and stuff loaded in here. That wants to show up. So let's say if I go on down here and I want them to read something in particular, then I would go ahead and select it from there. So like, I don't have an article handy, of course. But let's say if I'm going to put a map in there or something like that, then I'd go ahead and put this, I'd put insert, boom. And then of course I can resize my pictures to make them fit so that things are nice and snug. You can wrap the text if you want, or you can do it in line. If you like the pictures to be centered, you can go ahead and you go up to where you justify stuff and you can change the justification. So I'm going to justify it to the center because I prefer that. And then of course you want to add your link to your picture. So you could go ahead and you could add it in there. Okay. And so you go ahead and you populate your Hyperdoc with whatever sources that you have available that you would like students to interact with. Just make sure to be pretty specific in the instructions as to what you want them to do with it. And that is the basic gist for how to create your own Hyperdoc. Of course, if you are a person who is into slides and you'd rather do that, then you just go ahead, go into slides, and you can select your theme. You can change it up to whatever you want. Like, let's say if I choose this one, if you want to add a series of slides. And then, of course, you can start out on your first one with your title, and then maybe with your second one here, you would start to provide some of those options to students. And it's the same deal where you could add a series of pictures onto this first slide. It's like, let's say if I'm going to insert an image, so maybe I'm going to go to Drive, if I've already uploaded something into my Drive. And I could select something like, oh, this political cartoon that maybe I'll use next week. So if I want students to be able to link out to a series of political cartoons that relate to westward expansion or something like that, I could do that and insert the link. Again, same way, go up to this link button, just insert it, attach it to the picture, whatever. And up here, I would just say something like, click on the picture to move to your area of choice. Okay, and so on. So you can use just about any Google tool, whether it's Drives or Slides or whatever, to go ahead and make your Hyperdoc of your choice.